How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video where this week Grandmasters have launched, which means it is time for some Grandmaster guides. This week is Glassway, which means we're in for a great time. So let's dig in and get started with this guide. If you like it, leave a like, comment what you guys use down below, and subscribe if you found this to be helpful in any way. So let's get started. When you first load into the strike, you're going to get on your Sparrow and you're going to drive to this little ledge area, kind of a cliff. You're going to jump up on it, and this is where the strike really begins. As once you walk forward just a little bit, an overload champion is going to immediately spawn. Just one, so you and your team can deal with it very easily. Deal with it, and then deal with the red bars as you move up to a little ledge drop down. Do not drop down, as that'll cause other ads to spawn. When you get to the ledge, an overload is going to spawn, and he normally teleports directly in front of you. Stun him, kill him, get him out of the way. Drop down, and a single barrier champion is going to spawn with a bunch of just random ads. Take care of the barrier and all the ads, and that will drop the fallen shield that prevents you from moving forward to the next area, which is a mini boss type encounter. Upon entering this little arena, an overload champion is going to spawn and push you. Take care of him first, as the boss here can freeze you with stasis, leaving you wide open to attacks from that overload champion. So, take care of the overload champion and then start working on this boss. Once the boss is dead, a barrier champion is going to spawn. Take care of him and whatever is left over for the red bar adds, and that will allow you to move on to the second mini boss area, which is very much so the same as this one. Once you enter the second boss arena, there is plenty of places for you to take cover, as there is a bunch of sniper vandals that will absolutely snipe your face off if you are peeking for more than you can bargain for. Same thing as the first one, there is an overload champion here that spawns. Take care of him, as again, this boss can also freeze you with stasis, leaving you completely wide open to basically the snipers and the overload champion. Take care of the overload champion and start working on the boss. At some point, another barrier champion is going to spawn. Take care of him. If you still have to take care of the boss, do so. I honestly cannot remember while recording this voiceover if he spawns after he dead or when he is close to dead. But there will be another barrier champion. Take care of him and move on to this next area, which is a fair bit of jumping and a bunch more champions. Once you get into this next area, you're just going to have to deal with a few red bar ads as you push up to the other end of this area. On your way there, you're going to meet one overload champion before you jump across. He's very easy to deal with. It's one. Stun him, take care of him, jump across, and deal with another overload champion that is going to spawn. Once that's taken care of, you can jump up and move into the area where you can now drain the radiolarian fluid. Now, there are two ways you can do this room. The first of which is what we did, which is the easier, safer, guaranteed approach, and then there's the Giga Chad way. The Giga Chad way is to just stand on the plate the entire time and do not get off. However, odds are you're going to be burning a lot of reses, and unless you have a Bubble Titan, that's not going to work. So what we did is we would step on the plate, wait for ads to spawn, take care of the ads, and then step back on the plate, and then repeat the process until this entire lake is drained, allowing you to move across it. Now, once it is drained, an overload champion is going to spawn. Team shot him, take care of him, move forward, killing all the ads. There are also solar shields in this particular encounter. The only solar shields you're going to encounter in this entire Grandmaster are these heavy shanks that spawn here. Move forward. Take care of the snipers that spawn along the upper sides, as they are very dangerous here. A barrier champion is going to spawn. Take care of him. Sometimes he can float down underneath, the platforms you stand on. So be aware of that. Take care of him. Take care of the last couple of snipers. And then we can move on to the boss arena, where honestly, this strike gets way harder. Everything up to the boss room is not that bad. But once you get into the boss encounter area, this is where this Grandmaster truly becomes a little more difficult. So let's go over that, as there is a lot of working stuff for that encounter. Once you enter this boss arena, you're going to be met with one overload captain and a few random fallen. Take care of them. As soon as they're taken care of, you're going to run through the left side room, which is going to be your safe house for this entire encounter. Go straight to the far left and look at the left-hand portal. If you get there quick enough, you should be able to stun one of the two overload minotaurs that spawn out of that portal. If not, go back in there and look down mid, as they like to come up through the middle as well. Once you get both those overloads taken care of, you can then focus on the little Hydra. Be careful, because the Minotaurs can push that left and right door at any given time, so just be completely aware of your surroundings. That is the biggest tip I can give for this room, is just always be looking at those doors when you have a chance. There's 3 people, someone should always be looking at one of those doors at any given time. Now, once those 2 overload Minotaurs have been defeated, you can now go back to damaging the little Hydra. Once he gets to about half health, or as he is about to disappear, 2 more overload Minotaurs are going to spawn. Same deal as before, out of the left and right hand portal. Do not get caught outside of this room. I'm pretty sure you're either going to see or saw me get absolutely destroyed by the 2 Minotaur that spawned second. There, we're going to push up middle, which we got lucky with, and you can just double stun them and take care of them. Once those 2 Minotaurs are done, you can damage the big boss and get him to disappear to activate the second phase of this boss encounter. The second phase of this boss fight is just the little Hydra, and he's usually going to sit in whichever room you guys are sitting in as a whole, as that's where your aggro is going to be. But do not worry about him just yet, as the portals outside are now going to spawn wyverns and barrier champions. Deal with the wyverns first. Throw supers at them. Do whatever you need to get rid of them, as they hurt. They will one-shot you because of the void singe in this nightfall. Take care of them. And then you can kind of sit outside for a minute here and look for the barrier champions. The barrier champions here are really not that hard to deal with. Once you've dealt with both wyverns and both barrier champions, you're going to go back to damaging the little Hydra, and about halfway through his health bar, there's going to be another set of wyverns and barriers. Same thing as before. Take care of those wyverns as soon as possible. Once they are taken care of, you can then defeat the small Hydra, and that'll give you plenty of wiggle room to deal with the barriers and whatever few adds may be left over. I highly recommend leaving an add or 2, so this way you can collect yourselves and get ammo before the third part of this boss encounter. For the third part, it is just going to be the big Hydra this time, so luckily nothing really pushes your room, except for the 2 overloads that now spawn when he spawns. Same thing, left-hand portal and the right-hand portal. Again, if you can get to the left fast enough and stun him, you can deal with that overload before he ever becomes a problem. If not, you're going to go right to mid, and you're going to start looking at all the doors. You know, like if he's left side, you need to call that out immediately. If he's middle, you need to call that out immediately, as these overloads will also one-shot you because of the void singe. Now, once both those overloads are taken care of, the only thing you have to do here is just whittle down the big Hydra's health. Again, Wither Horde came in very clutch here, because you can just tag his shield, do the tick damage, and wait. Yes, it takes a little longer, but is a lot safer than just getting blasted by his void cannons. Now, same as the little one. When the big boy gets to half health, he's going to spawn 2 more overload champions. Again, odds are the boss is going to be on the left-hand side. You can't look out that door. So now you should focus hard on that middle door and take care of whichever overload is going to push there first. Usually it's the right one. Take care of him, and if you get lucky, both of them will push middle, and you don't even have to deal with left side. But if that doesn't happen, look left, deal with that overload, and move on. Same thing as before, you're just going to get that big boy to disappear. He's going to be down to about a third of his health, and that is going to activate the final stage of this boss encounter. For the final stage, the small Hydra and the big Hydra both come out to play, and when that happens, we get another round of wyverns and barriers. You're going to take care of those wyverns as fast as possible. Once the wyverns have been defeated, this is where things can start getting cleaned up very nicely. Do not worry about the barrier champions just yet. What you're going to do is, as soon as those wyverns are taken care of, you're going to completely get rid of the small Hydra. Defeat him entirely. Get him out of that room, giving you a much safer area to do stuff in. As soon as he is defeated, 2 more wyverns and 2 more barrier champions are now going to spawn. Same thing as before. Get rid of those wyverns as fast as possible, as those are the immediate threat here. Once you get the wyverns taken care of, you can kind of peek out a little bit and try to pick off some of the barrier champions, as there's now 4 of them. We got lucky and they all just kind of hung out in that middle doorway, and we just picked them off very easily. Once the barriers have been defeated, all you need to do is defeat the big Hydra, and then Glassway has been completed, and the loot will fall on that right hand side of your screen, and you have finished this Nightfall for your Conqueror seal. This Nightfall can be very difficult if you do not know the rotations. I actually had to write them out on a piece of paper before recording this just so I knew which one spawned and when. So with that, let us go over the loadouts we brought into this Nightfall that actually made it very manageable. So let's go over that right now. The first loadout that we're going to look at is the Arc Titan with Heart of Inmost Light. This build is absolutely disgusting this season. It is very, very good. They also brought Wither Horde, which is an amazing grenade launcher, Tarnished Metal, which is the Arc Scout Rifle from this season, and Fixed Odds, which is a solar LMG from the Duality Dungeon. Also comes with Overload, which is really nice. It helped us deal with a fair bit of ad clear and those solar shields during the Vex Pool part. They also ran things like Bountiful Wells, Elemental Ordnance, Elemental Charge, Heal Thyself, so this way when they got a grenade kill they would get some health back, and Lightning Strikes twice off the artifact to give them some more grenade energy after they threw their first grenade. The second loadout we're going to look at is a Stasis Warlock with Osmiomancy Gloves for those double cold snaps and those double turrets. They ran Hongjuri for Barrier, Divinity for Overload and to help us get rid of some of those chunkier targets like those Wyverns, and the Taipan Linear Fusion Rifle because it has got really good damage output. They ran things like Elemental Shards, shards count as wells, Elemental Charge, so they can come charged with light, Seeking Wells for whatever other wells they managed to make would track to them, and then they also ran 2 firepower mods so that this way they could get their grenades back faster in order to throw more turrets. This was very good, keeping ads out of our little safe room at the boss encounter, and it was very nice to have just for general dealing with ads and keeping them in place. Highly recommend this build for literally every Grandmaster in this season because Stasis Warlocks are just that good. And the final loadout we have is my loadout. I ran a Void Warlock with the Secant Filament Boots, which is where Empowering Rifts give you Devour and overloads all your guns. Turns them into overload weapons. I ran Wither Horde for that exact reason, is that now I could stick overload champions and they could just take that tick damage, and if they ever come unstunned while I'm in my rift, they would now restun due to the Wither Horde tick damage. I ran Duma Chelchis. This Duma Chelchis I ran had Repulsor Brace because I also ran Sundering Glare, which when Sundering Glare is procced, you do get that Void Overshield from Repulsor Brace. It's very nice. And then finally, Taipan just for general damage output. I ran mods like Font of Wisdom, Elemental Ordnance, Bountiful Wells, Reaping Wellmaker, and Well of Tenacity just to feed myself some better ability regeneration and some resistance, as well as making some for my teammates so they can get some ability energy as well. And with that, that is the end of the video. The entire guide loadout section. It feels really good to be doing Grandmaster videos again. I tried them last season for the first time, and I really enjoyed making them. They may have not done as well as I had anticipated, but I really enjoyed it because it allowed me to stream more over on my Twitch, which I will post to my YouTube community page when I go live again for more Grandmasters, and it just allows me to really flesh out some of these builds that I make throughout the season, or past builds in this case, that I can use for things like this. It's really nice, but that's that for this video. So next week we'll be tackling Lightblade Guide, which is going to be a pain because I haven't even finished Lightblade yet, which is the plan for this weekend. So, I hope everybody has a good week. I hope everybody can get in here and get some double loot. And I hope everybody has a great week.